When?
The tavern here, Lucas Tavern, was 15 miles east of here. If you go up 85 to the walk exit, 400 yards out on Line Creek, the county line. And the front two rooms here documented 1818. And you got the Lucases bought it, they're the third owners in 1820, and the back two rooms added on in 1821. This ceased to be a dog trot and becomes a great hall. Antebellum period, this is really two rooms and becomes a tenant house. And then you got a hay barn after 1961. But what's so famous about this house is it's the oldest structure today in Montgomery County, and it's the only structure we have left that the Marquis de Lafayette set foot in. And he spent the night here, April 2nd, 1825, on his tour of all 24 United States back then. And the Lucases up at Line Creek, where this tavern was at, had a little over 900 acres of cotton farm. They had a mercantile and a ginnery. Now, Ms. Eliza would run this establishment. And the portraits in the front room, Miss Jane Lucas Freeney, and the Freeneys had the Montgomery Hotel down on Commerce Street, and they're first cousins. So maybe Ms. Eliza looked sort of like Miss Jane. Who knows? I haven't never seen a picture of her. But anyway, this structure entertained the Marquis de Lafayette, and we don't know what he had for a meal, although we do have the 1830 complete menu that was recorded by James Stewart, the famous Scottish lawyer. But we know that Ms. Eliza had the men on the place start wringing the necks of chickens and getting hot water and oil in the big pots ready, so obviously southern fried chicken. And she got the Dutch ovens out. They just call them ovens back then. Here in modern times we call them Dutch ovens, so you'll understand what I'm talking about. But obviously to make biscuits. And she had made fruit pies that morning, and she always had jellies and jams and wine and brandy. And so anyway, the gentleman escorting with the Alabama militia, the Marquis de Lafayette, through the Creek Nation, wrote in his letters. He didn't ever write a book, but today it's in book form, Woodward's Memoirs. But Tom Woodward wrote that this place was done up better than it ever was before, ever will be again, basically. And now Tom had fought in the Creek Indian War. He had fought in the Seminole War. Here he is escorting the Marquis de Lafayette across Alabama with the Alabama militia. And in the 1850s, he's noted as being the Montgomery News. And he would be correcting the historians as I write in Alabama history in the 1850s. And he never thought that he ought to be writing a book, since a paragraph for him could be 4 or 5 pages long, you know. And he would write one of these letters correcting somebody, because he actually lived this Alabama history, and he might correct them. And so he got known as the Montgomery Mail, basically. I said news, but mail. And he knew a lot of the Indians and people that fought in that war of 1812, the Indian fight down here. So anyway, you've got a lot of history tied up in this building. You can look down the walls and see the hand plane marks. If you look down the wall, it's probably hand planed by the slaves. And this longleaf pine boards could have been cut in a mill, rough cut, and then probably hand planed. And you can see the boards. Some of the boards you can actually see the pit saw marks, where they would actually be pit sawed by hand. And some of them may be replacement board, but you look at the long growth rings on these boards, and that's old growth pine. We don't have any more of that. Maybe a few trees here and there. Pretty much the pine beetle is decimating our pine trees here in Alabama. And you have these new fast-growing pine trees today. And but you have to get really out away from the populated area to see the old growth type of pine. And of course, we do have lots of different evergreen type trees. But anyway.
What was your name?
Well, my handle is Bunky.
Handle meaning you're on CB radios or just?
My nickname.
It was what?
Yeah, when my dad
Bunky?
handed me off to Hank Williams down here, when I was a wee little lad before I started school, he probably called me Bunky when I was handed to him, because that was my name.
Bunky?
Yeah, that was my World War II name.
Cool.
And my dad said, boy, you're going to remember this the rest of your life. And of course, my Price kinfolks.
What year was that you were handed off to?
Well, it was
Hank
before
Williams.
it was before he died, let's put it that way. Yeah. I don't remember, early 50s, something like that, I don't know. But my dad probably was his drinking buddy. Now, I was always under the mind that my grandfather carved his tombstone, but my mom corrected me and said she didn't think so. But I know he was a monument carver, and he did carve the Confederate memorial that I have a bunch of great grandpa's names on there, about 4, actually 5, and a whole bunch of great uncles. And he carved the Lord's Supper over in the Greenwood Cemetery. I was always under the impression, I think I met up with some of my cousins in the Price clan that said he had carved it, but I may be mistaken. You know, that's been back in the 50s.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm getting old, man. My memory ain't as good as it used to be.
Oh, I can relate to that. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can have this for my memories.
Yeah.
So I can watch it over and over again because my memory is failing me also.
Yeah. Yeah, after that